Hello, this is a review on Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls. Diablo 3 has different types of modes that you can play with. There is a hardcore mode and a normal mode. In this particular version, we are going to be playing with a normal mode, because when I die, I do not want my character to be deleted. Diablo 3 offers different difficulty settings. In the game settings, you can go to difficulty, and after you have beaten the game up to Axe 4, you unlock a Torment difficulty. Normally you start off at the very beginning, and you work your way up based on the types of gear sets that you have, and each difficulty gives you a larger and larger reward, up until you get to Torment 6. Torment 6 is not recommended for anyone who is starting out with the game, because it is the hardest difficulty and things do hit very, very hard. Fuck. So you're going to start. Currently I'm going to be playing on Adventure Mode. You get to unlock this once you have beaten the game. Adventure Mode is for the people who have already gone all the way through the campaign, but still want tasks and various things to do. In Adventure Mode you get bounties, and these bounties give you large rewards based on your difficulty that you are completing them on. Diablo 3 offers different types of attack mechanics. They range from primary to your utility to just basic buffs like laws, or like special abilities, which is what I just transformed into. You are allowed to choose whatever you want to fit whatever kind of playstyle you want, which is part of what makes Diablo fun and replayable. There's a little white bar right here. That is my resource bar. When I am out of that, I can no longer use my big attack that does lots of damage. So Diablo was very good at balancing how much damage you can do in a given period of time. Paragon is a different type of resource. Once you've hit the maximum level, which is 70, instead of constantly wasting all this experience you get Paragon points, which I believe goes up to 700 unless they increase the cap. And this makes it so that you can constantly feel like you're leveling or you're constantly doing something important. So you constantly can get larger and larger levels, and then these Paragon points are used to spend on just key abilities. So you can choose offense, defense, utility, different things like that, and you can increase stats, which are permanent, but you can choose not to use them. You can always reset them. It's totally free to reset. It's kind of like your little reward for playing the game more and more. Right off the bat here we have a very large minion, and he's got a purple around his name, and he glows gold. That's how you know that they're really powerful. Now in this game, I'm just about to kill him here, I'm avoiding any sort of ground plague effects or any sort of walls or different effects that the monsters do want to get off. It is actually, I'd say, a late game core mechanic is to be able to avoid multiple attacks. We'll find some more monsters so we can show you what I'm talking about. There's little traps. As you can see right here, I just took a lot of damage. And you can see electricity going everywhere, these ice balls spawning. All of them do damage, and you kind of got to be really aware of your surroundings. So in the beginning of the game, I would argue that it is not necessarily a core mechanic, but near the end of the game, movement is definitely a core mechanic in Diablo, especially because you need to be able to avoid these things, especially in Torment 6. They do a lot of damage, and they will one-shot you. Fuck! Each map that you do in Diablo is different every single time. It's a good example, probably one of the best examples of input uncertainty. Every time you play a map, you're not quite sure that it's going to be the same. It'll never have the same monsters, the same demons or minions, skeletons, whatever it be, from hell. It will always be a little bit different every single time. Because every map's always different, you never know exactly where the final boss might be or where you're going, and it can be a bit of a pain or a frustration to have to constantly change around or find that out. So they actually have this little golden arrow here to tell me where I want to go. And through each map, sometimes they have these cursed chests, which just do little events where I have to kill something at a certain given time. If I do, I get a bonus loot. I get to open this up, and loot just comes spewing out. Diablo 3 loot is completely, well, it's very uncertain. It's got a lot of uncertainty to it. It's very random. You're never really guaranteed anything unless you're doing the campaign mode, which the campaign mode does guarantee certain legendaries or certain items off of each major demon, but it's for the majority of the game, it's going to be very random loot or very, you know, uncertain whether you're going to get something or not. So I'm getting up to the final minion here. He is right in the corner here. He's kind of a tiny guy, but he's okay. He's almost just killed me instantly, so he's not to be laughed at apparently. I have a passive ability that makes it so that if I take fatal damage, I become invulnerable for a few seconds and gain massive health regen, and this is to keep from when those events happen. And then when you complete a quest, it just tells you right here, you've completed the quest, here's the amount of money you got, here's your experience, and you continue. And once you've completed a multiple amount of these, you get a horadric cache, which just gives you a whole bunch of random small items, and that's pretty much the adventure mode. So I'm just going to teleport home. Teleporting around in Diablo is absolutely free. They don't really penalize you like other major MMOs will often do. They'll penalize you for teleporting between things, and they always give you little hints in here. The hints are really good early game, but once you get to late game, you know, they're kind of useless. They also have a few hints for some certain secret levels and things like that. Oh shit. Ponies and flowers and teddies. Fuck them up. Explode on impact. One of Diablo's many features is having all this loot means you're gonna have lots and lots of gold. As you can see on my character here, I have a little over 40 million. I have so much gold that really I don't know what to do with it. So how can I spend all this gold? Well, one thing that you can do is repairing gear. Repairing gear costs a decent amount of gold. The gold goes to the NPCs. It's never to be seen again. Another key feature that they use, it's a satellite mechanic as well, is being able to enchant weapons or gear, and then you can actually re-roll for certain stats that you're looking for. And these re-rolls have a high uncertainty. You don't know what you're going to get. You just know that it's one of these stats right here, and it's between these certain numbers. So oftentimes you'll see someone re-rolling a whole bunch of times, and each time you re-roll it costs more and more, so it's another great sync. But it also gives you the added feature, another mechanic would be transmography. You can make your gear look however you want. So instead of my helmet looking like this, I could change it to look like a samurai helmet. I can change it to look like some sort of weird tower thingy or floating rocks around my head, and it costs gold, and you can just change the look of your character whenever you want. In Diablo you have multiple abilities or skills. These skills here determine what kind of attacks you will be doing. Your primary meaning just what you use normally to generate wrath, which is this resource here, and you also have multiple runes. These runes are a satellite mechanic. They're not necessarily needed to complete the game, but they definitely help out in their own ways, and depending on your playstyle or what type of damage you want to deal, these runes add additional effects to your primary attacks. But they aren't just limited to the primary skills. They are through all your skills: defensive, utility, laws, convictions. All of them have their own types of runes. Probably the best example for a sync in Diablo would be the Gem Combiner. In this, you spend gratuitous amounts of gold to create these gems, which you can then socket into your gear. And these gems can cost a lot of money, and they take a really long time to accumulate. masses of them. So right here I just spent 600,000 to create one flawless Imperial, which then I need 3 of to create one Royal, which then I need 3 of to create one flawless Royal. And this goes on and on and on. In Diablo, there are different types of items. There's magic, which are blue in color. There's rare, which are yellow in color. Then there's legendary items, which are very sought after and have specific unique effects and looks, such as Thunder Fury Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, a very rare low percentage drop item. Or there are set items, and set items are they're kind of like legendary items, but they don't have their own specific effects. They have it based on how much of the set you have. So, for example, the set that I have right here, the Armor of a Khan, when I have 6 pieces of it, I get reduced cooldown, I get reduced cost of the abilities, and I get 500 strength on top of whatever other stats the set gives me. So while I play a little more Diablo here and get to the point where I'm at a Rift boss, which will take me a god-awful long time to kill because he has a little over 7.5 billion health, it's a good time to talk about Diablo's storyline. Diablo has its storyline separated into Acts 1 through 4 for the main game and an Act 5 for the expansion pack. Acts 1 through 4 are very, I guess you would say, linear. No matter which character you play, you always play the same storyline. So once you've beaten the game with one person, the replayability of the storyline becomes a little less each time you go through it. However, the one thing that they did do right was the lore and the voice acting was very good for the game. It does add a lot to it, and there are little like things you can find throughout the game that can add to the storyline. However, Diablo 3 is not a story-based game. The cinematics are really cool. The way they did the storyline can be a little bit, what you might say, they just kind of like kill off the main character, Leia, near the end. Spoiler alert. She does become Diablo, and really her character has all this development all the way through the entire story, but right at the end of the game, suddenly it's like none of that matters. We're just going to make her into Diablo. And your main angel character, Tyrael, his character does develop quite nicely and does transition quite nicely. So they did do him right, but I'd say the Leia character was not really something that I was very happy about. I mean, I'm not mad, but it's just not the best way that they could have done things. So Diablo, all in all, Diablo 3's story is really just about killing a bigger, better monster in each act. And as you move through the acts, you get demons of the underworld, you get more and more powerful up until you get Diablo. And then once you get to the expansion, you end up killing pretty much the Grim Reaper. And there really isn't a whole lot more to it. It's not a story-based game. It's meant to just keep the game moving forward. So that's all for now, and I hope you enjoy my video on Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, and I hope to be able to be doing some more in the coming new expansion. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.